All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's Alyssa here from your Spa Performance team, and I'm so glad that you guys joined today on this webinar. It's something that I feel very passionate about, and it's definitely something that is the backbone of our business. Our employees are what is going to make or break our business, so it's very important that we understand why they're not selling, right? We can't fix something if we don't know what the problem is. So I'm glad that you guys are all on here. I hope a lot of you guys are franchisees because this is really going to help out on our franchisees. Not that it won't help with any spa directors, but it is mostly franchisee based. So any spa directors on here, I appreciate you guys joining in. If you see some things that you like, make sure that you forward it over to your franchisee so that y'all can work together to implement some of these things that we talk about today. So, why your consultants aren't selling? That's a pretty good question, right? I'm sure that it's one that everyone, not only in the Planet Beach community, but any sales business-oriented manager, owner has asked themselves, right? Why aren't my consultants selling? That's a huge problem if they're not selling, right? They're not selling, we don't have any revenue coming in, our business isn't growing. And that's a huge problem. But the good thing is that this can be solved. This isn't an ever-going problem where there's no solution. And so I would not give you guys a problem if I did not have the solution to it. So I'm excited that you guys all took the first step in joining this webinar and trying to find out how to better improve your team, which is going to, in the end, improve your business, right? So why aren't your consultants selling, right? I think it's great to start with a couple of reasons why they're not selling, right? And I just kind of took a list of some things that I hear on consulting calls with my franchisees. Some of the other spa performance consultants have definitely heard or, discovered on their own from speaking with their franchisees, visiting their locations, things like that. So the first one is a huge one, right? They don't know how to. Well, that's a huge problem. If they don't know how to sell, how do we expect them to sell? There's a lot that goes into that, right? Not knowing how to sell. Maybe they weren't born to sell. Maybe they don't have that in their blood. Or maybe they weren't giving the right guidance to sell, right? But that is a huge one. They're not sold themselves. This is another really big one. When I say they're not sold themselves, you can typically find who these consultants are that aren't sold themselves on who's discounting packages, who's going straight for the $0 enrollment, who is selling silvers rather than golds or titaniums. These are the consultants that don't see the value in our memberships. They don't see the value in our products. They don't understand the price tag on them. And that's why you'll typically find them underselling. And if you dig a little deeper, you'll realize it's not that they can't sell, right? It's that they don't have that belief system in their heart that makes them want to sell these higher price packages and make them truly believe in them. They're not knowledgeable on our product, services, and package options. That's another huge one. If your consultants aren't knowledgeable in what you have to offer, then they're not going to be confident and they're not going to sound knowledgeable whenever they're speaking to a new client coming in the door. Your clients coming in are going to be a lot more likely to buy from someone that they trust as a knowledgeable person that knows what they're talking about. So make sure that you're providing them the education on the background about our products, our services, and our package options. They're over discounting. This goes a little bit into not being sold themselves, right? We talked about that's a way you can find out if they're not sold themselves. They're over discounting, they're undercharging, they're going for that bare minimal payments instead of going for the titaniums, going for the full enrollments. But over discounting has a little bit deeper to it, right? Over discounting is not just not collecting full enrollment. That's not just not selling or going for our titaniums. That is devaluing the value that we have on these memberships, that we have on these products. If they are so used to cutting prices 50% off, 30% off, then it's going to be extremely hard for them to come back from that. It's going to be really hard for them to show a client the value of spending $99 a month on a membership when all their friends and the girls that they talk with are only spending $39. So that's a huge one that when you get in that rut or when you're first starting out and you get in the habit of going straight for the cheaper memberships because you think you're going to have a higher return rate on them, it's really hard to come back from that. They've confused the customer. What do you mean they've confused the customer? Sometimes when we have a new consultant and they're just learning the services, they're just learning the products, they're so excited, right? They're so excited about this newfound knowledge and they just want to share it with everyone. And although that's great, not everyone has a really high attention span. So you don't want to oversell things. You don't want to go too deep into the technology of every service that we offer, talk about every single ingredient that's in our products. And you don't want to give them every single package option that we have, right? You're consulting them for a reason. You should be going towards the services that are going to best benefit them, talking about the products that are going to best benefit them, recommending a package that is perfect and catered for them. You don't want to give them too much information or too many options to where they leave a lot more confused than they were when they came in. They aren't asking for the sale. This is a huge one. Your answer is always going to be no if you don't ask the question. You're never going to get a yes, right? Sure, you might have those people that come in every single year. Yeah, I'm coming back. I want to join. They're basically, waving their credit card in your face. But let's be honest, it doesn't happen that often, right? So you have to make sure that you're asking for the sale or assuming the sale if you're even a step higher than that, right? They're overselling. They're too gimmicky. If every time they're doing their package demonstration, they're like, well, normally we collect $99 for your startup fee, but today, don't worry about that. It's done for you. We'll slice it in half, or don't worry about it. Zero down today. I'm not falling for that, right? That's a gimmick. That's too salesy to me. And people know when you're being too salesy. They know when you're almost desperate for that sale. So you don't ever want to be too gimmicky. You don't want to be desperate for that sale because that's going to turn people off. They're too robotic. This is another good one. Too robotic is trainable, right? That means that they know the products, they know the services, they know the package options, but they basically memorize the script, right? They haven't had enough practice to personalize their approach. And that goes into our approach training that we have available as well. That would definitely help with someone that seems too robotic. If you're too robotic, it's not personal, right? And people buy from people that they like. If they don't feel like you're being personal with them or that, this is just something that you say all the time, it just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. They're giving up too soon. Have you ever heard we need 3 no's before we really think it's a no? If someone tells you no, if you offered them the titanium membership, they said no, don't give up. Don't tell them bye, have a great day, right? Maybe that titanium wasn't perfect for them. Maybe we need to drop our pitch, right? Go down to the gold, go down to the silver. But find out why they didn't want that titanium, right? So that we can make our next recommendation perfect for them. But don't give up after that one no. If you get 3 no's, they're absolutely not interested in signing up today, still, do not give up on them. Buy yourself some more time. Even if we can't get them sold on a month or 3 months, give them a week pass. You know what, just to thank you for coming in today, I actually want to open up the spot to you till the end of the week, right? Because maybe we didn't sell them on that first visit for whatever reason, but now we've just bought ourselves a couple more days that we can really show them the value of the membership and what they're really going to get out of joining our family today. They're talking customers out of the sale. This is another good one. And maybe you've seen some of your consultants doing this. Have you ever seen your consultants pitch a membership and then before the client even has a chance to respond, they say, but you know what? You said that you work far away and you probably won't be able to get here every single day. So you know what? Why don't we just get you some sessions? They don't expire and you can use them whenever you want. That client didn't even tell you no yet and you already talked yourself out of them, right? So make sure that you're pitching and then you're shutting up. right? Because the first person that talks after that loses. So make sure that you get a no before you start down pitching. Or maybe they don't have to, right? What do you mean they don't have to? They don't have to, right? They're here for the hourly pay. They're getting paid $8 an hour whether they sell anything or not, right? They don't have to. They're good with that $8. They live at home. They don't have to pay their bills. My boyfriend pays all my bills. I'm good. I don't have to. That's another big one. I know what you're probably saying in your mind, they don't have to. Well, guess what they do have to do? Get out my store. But maybe that's not the case, right? All these issues that we're talking about today are all the reasons that someone's not selling. I'm not just telling you these so that you're aware of them, but I'm telling you these because there's a solution to every single one of these. And that's what we're here to find out, right? We're here to find out what the solution is. But in order to know what the solution is and how to fix the problem, we need to know what the problem is. So I want you guys to think of your lowest performer, your newest consultant maybe, or your consultant with the lowest sales. Which one of these is her problem or his problem, right? Is she not asking for the sale? Is he too robotic? Do you know? If you do know, that's awesome, right? That's step one, is figuring out what the problem is. And that shows me that you're involved in your store, you're involved with your consultants, and you know where their strengths are, you know where their weaknesses are. And that is a great quality to have. But what I'm assuming, and this is what I get when I speak with a lot of my consultants, with a lot of my franchisees, I apologize, they don't know what the problem is, right? And you're probably saying, well, of course I don't know. If I know, maybe I would have solved it already. Or maybe you don't know the solution. But bigger problem here, maybe we don't know the problem. So that's our first step. And don't worry, we have solutions here, right? You don't know the problem, that's okay. We'll definitely show you guys how to find out the problem and where to go from there. All right, so the real problem, right? We looked at all the reasons why maybe our consultants aren't selling, but it goes a little deeper than that, right? Maybe there's a reason that they're not asking for the sale. Maybe there's a reason that they sound too robotic. And that's what we're really here to find out, right? We're here to find out what that deep problem is and how to solve that problem. So a couple of things we're going to go over today, right? One, you're not hiring the right people. And that's really where it starts whenever we're talking about who's selling, who's not selling. 2, you're not communicating properly. 3, you're not investing in them. 4, you're not utilizing their strengths. 5, you're not keeping them motivated. Or 6, maybe you're doing all of those. Maybe you know you hired the right people. You're clearly communicating your expectations. You're investing in them with their training and of course their payroll every month, right? You think that you're utilizing their strengths and you feel like you're keeping them motivated, but something's still missing, right? So maybe we're just not holding them accountable to those results. So we're going to go into detail of each one of these, how we can fix it, and if this is the problem, where we can start from here. And I don't want you guys to look at this and say, oh my gosh, this is so negative, right? So you're saying I'm the problem. And I'm not saying you're the problem, but at the same time, sometimes it does take us to take responsibility for our part, right? Maybe we're not fully responsible for our consultants not being successful, but we do hold a role in that. And the only way that we can improve from here is if we take responsibility for our role in this and make the necessary changes. So the first part, right? This is the very first step. You're not hiring the right people. So a couple of things go into hiring the right people. When are you hiring, right? The time of the year. Maybe it's how busy you guys are when you're hiring. Maybe it's that last second when someone called in and you have no one else to come in. Who are you hiring, right? This is definitely hiring the right people. And how are you hiring? So when we're talking about the how, we're talking about your hiring process. So when are you hiring? So when I say build a business, not a job for you, the majority of our franchisees have bought into this business as not a job for them, right? They do not plan to necessarily work in their spa on a daily basis, and that's okay. You don't have to, right? But sometimes we put ourselves in that position to where we are trapped working in our store. And typically we get in that position by not hiring at the correct time. So we are always interviewing and recruiting. We should be holding at least one group interview a month. And this is to assure that you constantly have resumes coming in. You are constantly meeting with people and you're able to top grade. When we say top grade, we don't want to replace Julie, who's your lowest performer. No, we want to replace Danielle, who is your highest performer. That's who we want to replace. If we just replace Julie, we're just going to have another low performer in the store, right? So make sure that you are staying on top of interviewing and recruiting and top grading so that you never have to worry about working in your store. Only hire when you need to and when you can afford it. Please do not hire a room attendant because 3 people came in that night and your consultant did not want to clean. That's not the time to hire. And if 3 people are coming in a night, I can assure that you cannot afford to hire a room attendant. So this should be common knowledge to you guys. You should be saying, well, duh. And because it is a duh, right? It is common sense. But I just wanted to reiterate that to you guys so y'all have that on top of your minds. Make sure that you're not hiring now because you think you're about to be busy, right? You want to make sure that those sales are coming in before you're paying out of pocket in payroll and increasing your overhead. When your employees are overwhelmed with work, this is a great time to hire, right? If you started with a great sales team and now you find that your sales team are so busy cleaning services and folding towels and handing out guest passes that they don't even have time to sell to the members that are coming in the door, that means we need to bring someone new in. However, don't just take your employee's word for it, right? Don't just let them tell you, I don't have time to sell, because that can easily be an excuse, right? So make sure that you are investigating that. You're going into the store. Maybe you're just observing for an hour or two and see what's really going on, or even secret shop your store to see what's really going on. But if your employees are telling you they don't have time to sell, they don't have time to do this, they're too busy, they have too much on their plate, listen to them. Especially if you have a good sales team, you don't want to overwork them and get them burnt out. When you see a huge performance gap, so we know our team can sell, right? They can sell anyone that walks in the door, but maybe our problem is they can't book reds to save their life, right? Prospecting is not their strong suit, and that's okay. Right? As long as they can sell, we can find someone that might be good at prospecting. We might be able to find someone that's really great at bringing people in the door. So make sure that you are looking at those things and you're not seeing that performance gap and thinking, hey, we need to get rid of this person. Let's think the other way around. Let's get someone else who might be good in that position. So we know when to hire. Who are we hiring, right? We want to hire sales-minded, goal-oriented people. This should be a no-brainer, right? We want people in the spa that can sell, right? So we want to be very upfront about that. We don't want to hire someone because they have the Planet Beach look, right? Maybe they could definitely be a CoverGirl model. That's not what we want to hire them for. That's a plus. You know, if they are sales-minded, they have a lot of experience, management experience, sales experience, and they look the part as well. That's definitely a plus, but I would not hire solely on that purpose. You want to hire for positive attitudes rather than aptitude. If someone has a positive attitude and they are willing to learn and they are willing to work for what they want, I would hire that person over someone with a long resume of sales experience that shows up late, that is not a team player, and that doesn't care to help me grow my store, right? So you want to make sure that you're hiring for those positive attitudes, because those positive attitudes are what's going to grow your store. Those negative attitudes or those people that think they're too good to clean surfaces or too good to fold towels, right? Those are the cancers that are going to spread in our store, and we definitely don't want that. Don't hire tanning salon employees. Planet Beach tanning salon employees or another tanning salon employee. These are your turn and burns, right? If you hire a tanning salon employee, they're going to work like a tanning salon employee, right? Those are bad habits that are really, really hard to get out of. So don't just hire someone because they've worked at a Planet Beach before, even though it was 10 years ago, all they had was tanning beds. It's just not a good idea. Hire the right people at the right time. So you always want to start with your sales-minded team, right? I would say get at least 2 or 3 really strong sales consultants. Once you have that really strong sales consultant, then we need to look at bringing someone in that can bring guest traffic, right? And when I say marketing, I don't mean go hire a marketing director or hire someone with a marketing degree. I'm talking about strengths here. These are all spa consultants that we're talking about, right? Hopefully our top salesperson, our top leader is going to turn into our spa director. But our other ones are going to be spa consultants, I apologize. But their strength is in sales. They have really high sales numbers. So we need those people in the store. But if anyone has experience with someone that is really strong in sales, then you can assume, or I'm sure that you understand that just because they're strong in sales doesn't mean that they'll be strong in every other area. That is also important in the store as well. So if we can get someone in the store that is strong at doing outside promotions, prospecting, bringing people in, then that's a great place to start because we already have a great sales team. We know they can sell. So the only way they're going to sell more is if we are constantly feeding them new clients. So if we have that spa consultant who's strong in marketing and prospecting, then we can constantly have her feeding our sales team with new guest traffic. Once you have that, once you have a great sales team and you have someone constantly feeding them guest traffic, your business is going to grow and you're going to need to expand your team. So at this point, you can then go back, right, and hire another sales-minded spa consultant, which is a great idea. Definitely, we can never have, too many people who are experienced with sales, but I'm sure a lot of you on the call have interviewed and hired before, and I'm sure that you understand that those consultants that are great in sales, they don't come by every single day. And if we already have 2 or 3 consultants that are really great in sales, then hopefully our spa consultant that was focused on marketing has had a little more experience now, working in the store, doing daily operations, and maybe now she's so focused on trying to sell now that she can't completely fulfill all her marketing duties. So now we can hire on that phone consultant, that room attendant, someone that can help take some of her duties off of her plate to where she can assist the sales consultants as well as continuing to bring in guest traffic. So that's when we're talking about hiring the right people at the right time. But always remembering the sales consultants are absolutely first. Those are most important. We definitely need a strong sales team before we want to start bringing in guest traffic. So lastly, when we're talking about hiring good people, how are you hiring, right? There's so many times that I'll see job descriptions or job postings, and they're really vague, and you're not really sure what the position is that you're actually applying for. And we don't want that to be the case. We want to be transparent, and we also want to be positive. It's been proven that millennials care more about doing something good to make a positive change in the world than they do about a paycheck. And I know some of you might be surprised by that, but it's true. So I just put an example of an actual posting that's out right now from one of our top spas. And it says, Planet Beach Covington is seeking a motivated, professional, and outgoing sales-minded individual. If health, wellness, and looking and feeling your best is your passion, come join our team of self-starters in changing the way the world rejuvenates. It's extremely positive, right? But it's also straightforward. We're seeking motivated, professional, and outgoing sales-minded individual. And we're looking for you to join our team of self-starters. That's so positive and it's so transparent. And that is what is going to bring in the right kind of resumes. Have them complete the pre-employment package. Does anyone even know what this is? This is such a great tool, and when we send this webinar out, when we post it on the Facebook group, we're going to include a couple of different documents with that, and this is going to be one of them, the pre-employment package. And just in a nutshell, what it is it includes the mission statement, the 5 components of customer service, the telephone script, and SWELL, right? What SWELL is: smile, welcome, enthusiasm, listen, and learn. So we are giving our applicants this pre-employment package before we've even hired them on, right? So this is the first thing that they're seeing. They're seeing what the Planet Beach brand is, what the Planet Beach, what our goal is, right? What our mission statement is, and they're already coming prepared with that. Not only do we want that to be the first thing that they see, because that's what's most important, right? That they're following the steps and procedures that Planet Beach has put in place, but also it's going to show you how committed they really are to this job, how bad they really want it. Did they go home and memorize the script? Did they go home and memorize the mission statement? Did they even open it, right? Did they even remember that you gave it to them? So that's really going to help you weed out some of those not so serious applicants. Have them secret shop other locations. This one I think is an amazing idea, but you have to be very careful with it. If you are in an area that you have other Planet Beach locations, have them go and visit a couple other stores and come back with a report. Tell you what they liked, what they didn't like, some things that they thought, we could definitely implement at our store, or maybe some things that we have at our store, maybe they don't have. That's going to give you a good idea if they understand the Planet Beach brand, if they understand what their daily duties are going to be, and what is acceptable and not acceptable in the eyes of Planet Beach. Talk about probationary period. This is a huge one. You always want to make sure that any new hire is put on that 90-day probationary period, that they know after those 90 days there's going to be an evaluation. That's going to keep them on their toes for the first 90 days. It's going to assure that they take their training seriously, because they know after that 90 days, we're going to be sitting down with them and going over their performance, and they want to make sure that we're going over something positive. Check references. This one is, again, a no-brainer, but I know I've personally slacked on this. I was actually just recently in Indiana helping out with a pre-sale, and we had an applicant. He had, almost 15 years of membership sales with gyms, and definitely training and management experience, traveling to other gyms and helping with the pre-sale process. And we were in the pre-sale process, so of course I'm excited. I'm like, this person's perfect. He's got experience. He knows the pre-sale process. He's barely going to need any training other than teaching him our services, our products, our membership options. But that's the easy part, right? Typically, it's the selling and that motivation and the outgoing personality that's tough. So, of course, we hired him on right away, no brainer, right? Well, guess what? A couple days later, he's coming in late, he's calling in, he's constantly walking away to answer his phone. Things are getting a little fishy. So, of course, then we start to look into him, right? Well, comes out, there's news videos all over, he's in the newspaper, there's all these articles about fraudulent things that he's done in his past, not being trustworthy, just so many things that we were completely blown away from. But who could we blame at that point, right? This was our fault. We didn't check his references. We didn't call and confirm that he actually even worked at these places, much less was a great candidate to hire on to our business. So that's so important. So going back to why consultants don't sell, right? So what can we weed out just from making sure that we hire on the right people? They don't know how to sell, right? They don't know how to sell. Sure, that is a skill that maybe we can teach, maybe not. But if we just make sure that we are hiring on sales-minded people from the very beginning, we will never have to worry about someone saying they don't know how to sell. Even if they didn't know that much about the products or the services, if someone has a sales bone in their body, they can sell you anything. So that should never be a problem. If you have someone right now that you truly believe can absolutely not sell, it's time to make a decision and start interviewing and hiring again and finding someone to replace your top performer and letting that low performer go. So we have the right people in place, right? Assuming that we followed all the right steps, we're hiring the right people. Well, what now, right? I hired some salespeople. I know that they're good in sales. I know that they can sell, but they're still not selling. What's going on? Maybe we didn't communicate properly. Again, this goes into the first thing that they receive when they come on to this position. Did they fill out that pre-employment package, right? Do they know what the Planet Beach brand is? After they filled that out, right, they've come in to turn it in, then we need to schedule an orientation for them. This is before they even step foot on the store and on the floor to train, right? They need to we need to schedule their orientation. And during this orientation, we're going to review that pre-employment packet with them. We're going to make sure that they have that mission statement memorized, that they know the TI script, right? We're also going to go over our employee expectations. It's so important to go over this first and before they even step foot on the sales floor. And I'll show you guys what I mean by employee expectations in just a second. During that orientation, you also want to make sure that you're scheduling out the days for basic training. And those basic trainings should be 7 to 10 days, right? You should be following your spa consultant training checklist. Again, remember that the first thing that the new employee is trained on is what they're going to view as most important to their role. If before they even learned the TI script or completed any PBU webinars or did, even found out what the Planet Beach brand is, we have them cleaning beds and folding towels and checking people into services. Well, guess what? That's what they think their role is. And that's part of their role, right? That's daily operations. But daily operations isn't what's going to grow your business. Isn't what's going to, help you put some more money in your pocket. You want to make sure that you clearly communicate what their role is in the spa, what they're going to be responsible for, and what things you're going to be looking at to assure that they've done those things. So, going over their employee expectations. This you can find, it's on the very first page of your spa consultant training checklist, which again, we are going to include when we send out the webinar. You will have a list of documents, and your spa consultant training checklist will be one of those. So your very first page, right? Your employee expectations. No surprises here. We don't want to surprise anyone after they're done training, and then now we're going over their spa consultant sales and checklist, right? Now they're like, wait, you expect me to make how many rents? You want me to do what? Outside promotions? You never told me about that before, right? You don't want them to be freaking out once you've already wasted all this time and energy and money on training them. So make sure that you're going over all these things up front. That way there's no miscommunication and there's no surprises later on. So what can we now cross off our list from reasons why your consultants aren't selling? They didn't know they had to? What do you mean they didn't know they had to, right? You're a spa sales consultant. That's in your job title. What do you mean you didn't know you had to sell, right? That's because we didn't communicate that clearly. We're communicating that up front. They already know what their responsibilities are. They know what we're looking for. They know what their goals are, and that we're not going to tolerate low performance. So we can nip that in the bud right then and there. But the problem is that maybe we have some consultants in our store right now that don't know that they have to sell. And that's another tough decision that you'll have to make, right? Does that mean that they can't sell? Does that mean that they don't know how to sell? No, right? That just means that we've failed on that communication part. So make a change now. Have a short 5-minute meeting with that sales consultant and go over your expectations of them. Go over what you're going to be looking at on a daily basis and give them the opportunity to step up. If you then find that you're still having to tolerate low performance, then it's time to make that decision, right, and replace them. But what next, right? So we've hired on the right people. We've already communicated properly what our expectations are of them, so they know what we're looking for. They know what their responsibilities in the store are, and we know that they're capable of it, right? Because we hired them because they were sales-minded. So the next step is making sure that we are investing in them. When I say investing in them, I don't just mean the money that we dish out every month for their paycheck, the commissions that we're paying. I'm talking about investing our time in their development. So before we even need to look at developing our sales team, we need to make sure that we are providing all the tools that they need to be successful, right? Do we have a spa-like atmosphere? And hopefully by now we do, right? But that's so important. If we don't have a spa-like atmosphere, yet we're trying to sell spa-priced memberships, we're going to have a difficult time being successful. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind. Make sure that you are looking around and that you're giving them the tools to be successful. If they're not given those tools, it's going to be very difficult for them to sell. They're not going to be making commission. They're not going to be motivated. And then we just lost a great sales consultant because we didn't give them the right tools. Education. That's a huge one. And when we're talking about education, have they completed PBU? That is so simple. It's free to everyone. It's available to anyone. And those tools are available at your fingertips. Why wouldn't you take advantage of them? Why wouldn't you invest that education in your consultants to assure that they know all the right procedures and policies? Have they been SAE certified, right? Have they gone through that UV training? Do they understand all the rules and regulations that are put on tanning right now? So that's another thing. Make sure that you're investing in that, because that's going to turn into revenue for you. But if they're not educated in those areas, it's going to be very hard for them to be successful in the store. What about franchisee or spa director school? You have a spa director that you think is really intelligent. You think that she's a great salesperson. She has a lot of potential. Why wouldn't you send her here to just further advance her education and get some motivation out of it while she's here as well? Uniform and name tag. That is so little, but it makes such a difference. If your consultants don't look and feel the part, then they're going to have a lower chance of being successful in that part. If I want to buy a spa product, I want to buy it from a spa consultant, not a tanning salon attendant, right? So make sure they're looking the part. And you'd be surprised what supplying your consultants with a name tag and business cards will do for their confidence, right? That's like a little thank you saying, hey, I think you're going to last a long time, so I invested in a name tag and some business cards for you to hand out. It's a little things like that that make a huge difference in just recognizing that you see potential in them. So now that we've made sure that they have all the right tools, this is what we were talking about when we're saying investing your time in their development. So assure that your strongest consultant is in charge of training new hires. If you hired on a new employee to replace Julie because Julie's sales are down, why would you have Julie train the new hire? Because all you're doing is replacing Julie with another Julie. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind. Even if your strongest consultant, let's say Danielle's going out of town for 4 days, right? There's a lot going on this weekend. She doesn't have time to train, so we'll just stick her with Julie. No. If she doesn't have time in those 4 days, guess what? That training is going to be postponed until she gets back and she's fully prepared. I know where our mindset is on that. We want to get them trained as fast as possible so that they can start working in the store because we need help. But the whole reason that we were hiring in the first place is because of low performance. So don't start tolerating it now. Divide that training into 4 to 6 hour increments, and that is for the purpose not only of the new hire, right? Because information overload, you want to make sure you're giving them little bits at a time to where they can absorb it, go home, study it, make sure they come back and rehearse it. But also, you don't want to burn out your trainer. You don't want to burn out the person that's training them, and you also don't want your sales in the store to fall just because you have a new hire coming in. So if you're putting that training in that middle of the day time when maybe you're a little slower, and then relieving that trainer of the new hire once we're getting a little busier and she still has the ability and the time to focus on sales and servicing members, then your sales aren't going to see such a drop. Also, make sure that you're actually using that spa consultant training checklist. That's just going to help you stay on track, and it's also going to help you document the trainings. So later on, if your consultant tells you, I don't know what that indulge is, that's why I can't sell it. Well, you checked off right here that you completed your PBU training on the retail products. So I don't understand. I have your test right here saying that you got 100% on it. What's the problem here? If you had any questions, let's go over it now. But I'm just a little confused because we've checked this off. But if you don't have the documentation, if you don't have that proof to back you up, then they can tell you anything that they want, and you have no leg to stand on saying that you did train them on that. It's also going to make sure that you train them on every little subject. I know how it can be in the store, especially when you get busy, you get distracted, things come up, and before you know it, your new hire, all they did was watch you run back and forth to beds, clean beds, fold towels, and deal with a customer service issue, right? But that wasn't on our checklist at all. So by then we're like, oh, well, you learned enough. You watched me clean beds. You know how to walk people to services. So you're good. You can go. Well, guess what? That whole day was wasted because we didn't follow anything on that checklist. So when it comes to the next day, when we're supposed to go over the telephone inquiry, the telephone script, and you're looking at me crazy, right? I have no proof that I went over that with you, or I forgot I didn't go over it with you, things like that. So it's just going to help you stay on track and ensure that you're going over every single topic and category. Assure that your consultants have completed PBU by the end of their training. That's another one that's so huge. Again, this is at your fingertips. Why not use it? Every single PBU training has a test at the end that your consultants should be printing out and bringing to you to show you that they passed, right? But here's the kicker, and I'm sure you guys know this. If they fail the test, all they have to do is start it again, right? And they can just keep doing it until they get 100. They print out that 100 certificate, they bring it to you. Hey, I know everything, I got 100, right? Well, if that's the case, and you think something's a little weird, right? You got all 100s. Yeah, I think this girl's smart, but I don't know, that's a little weird. Just ask us. We can definitely look on the back end and see how many times they took the test. If that was the case, if maybe they did know everything, they got 100 on the first try, or if 8 times later they finally got 100, give us a call. We can definitely invest that a little bit for you and give you some answers there. That way you're not thinking that this consultant knows everything when they didn't complete the correct trainings. So once your consultant has finished this checklist, then they can operate the spa, they're great with customers, they can prospect, they can sell a membership. Your training is complete. Of course not. Absolutely not. Training never ends, right? We're never done training. I learn something every single day. I will never claim to know everything. I'm not perfect. Neither are you, neither are your consultants. We always have something new to learn. So don't stop there. That spa consultant training checklist is a great tool, and you guys should absolutely be using it, but it does not cover everything, right? It does not cover everything else. We still have advanced training that we want to make sure that we're going over with those consultants to ensure that they are prepared for every single situation. And again, you'll find this in that checklist. After the 7th training day, it's strongly recommended to have the new employee shadow the spa director for another week before placing them on the sales floor alone. This is another great training opportunity. Sure, we checked off everything off of the checklist, but there are some situations that come up on a day-to-day basis that you wouldn't necessarily think to train on. So if you have them working side by side with your highest performer, and that performer is there, a highest performer is there to see how your new hire interacts with customers, how they are setting up customers in the services, how they're managing their time, then they're able to do that one-on-one training, that constant training that that new hire is gonna need in order to grow in their role. So I know that you guys are probably looking at this like, I can't afford to pay this new hire for a whole nother week just to shadow train. If she can put someone in the bed, she's good to go. But again, you're on this call for a reason. You're on this webinar because you, either right now or at one time, have had a consultant that was not selling and you weren't sure why. And this is going to help bring to light where their weaknesses are, where they're falling short, or why maybe they're not selling. Maybe they know everything, right? They have the knowledge, they have the tools, but it's their approach that's off. But unless there's another consultant there watching and observing this person in action, we're never going to know what that real issue is. So drill your consultants. Drill them on everything, right? Make sure that they can recite our different package options, what's included in them, what's the cancellation policy, what's the freeze policy, right? What are our paid in full prices? What are the member benefits? What do they get for becoming a member? What's the difference between being a member and being a paid in full customer? They should be able to recite these things to you. The biggest thing in here is the member benefits. That's a huge selling tool that we're not using enough in the store. That's a huge tool to use to help convince those paid in full customers to become members with us, right? That's what's going to help us overcome cancellations later on. People don't buy our memberships just for fun, right? They buy it because of the benefits that they're getting with that membership. They should also be able to recite prices and packages. If they have to run to the computer every single time someone asks them how much a month is, they don't sound like they know what they're talking about. The client doesn't trust that what they're telling them is correct, right? This should be an instant comeback. It should be immediate. Role play with your consultants and have them explain each service to you, which products they can pair with them, and why they would suggest that. The why is so huge because I can tell you all day long that you should definitely use contour oil in the hydration. But how many of your clients know why? Because she told me to? Because I have to? She won't let me in the hydration unless I have contour oil? No. Sure, they might buy it, but guess what? They're going to go home with buyer's remorse. We need to tell them why. What are the benefits? Why are we recommending that? Right? We're building trust with that consultant. And that's only going to help us sell more in the future. But this is also assuring that your consultants do know what the services do. They do know what products pair with each service and why. Because just like we don't want our clients going home not realizing why their consultant recommended that product to them, we want to make sure our consultants know why, right? Because what's going to happen when that client asks, well, why? Why do I need that? Oh, because my boss said that you have to. Corporate said you can't go in there without it. That's not a good comeback, right? And your client's going to look at you retarded and walk away. So make sure that they are knowledgeable on all those aspects of the spa. Rehearse the package presentation. Make sure that your consultants know how to close the sale. We don't know what the problem is, again, if we can't see it, right? If you talk to your consultants and you tell them, or you ask them, you ask them, why aren't you selling? What's the problem? You had 2 reds yesterday and neither one of them closed. What happened, right? I see on the guest register they wanted to think about it. Yeah, they were just really busy and they just came in just for prices and they weren't sure, so they just wanted to think about it. Are you calling back the people in those guest registers to find out if that's the real reason or what it was that they had to think about? Chances are the consultant never even asked for the sale. But that's typically the number one reason people don't buy is that no one asked them to buy, right? But if we're not doing that follow-up process and we don't understand what the problem is, we can't solve it. And role playing is a great way to find out what that problem is before it happens with a client. We don't want it to get to that point where we have to call the guest register to see what the problem is. I should be finding that out on my own before a client even walks in this door. So make sure that you are doing that on a daily basis with your consultants. Test them on overcoming objections. Hey Danielle, I can't afford it. What are you gonna tell me? Hey Danielle, I don't wanna give you my checking information because I don't want anything coming out of my checking account. What are you gonna tell me? Hey, I have to go ask my husband. See what they say. They need to have immediate comebacks, and if they don't, then that's a training opportunity. If they don't have immediate comebacks, then guess what? When a client throws that at them, they're going to be extremely unprepared, and they're going to say, okay, no problem, have a great day. Role play on the different scenarios to ensure that they know when and how to upsell and upgrade memberships. This is a great way to increase your net EFT without even having to bring new clients in the door, right? But this is an advanced skill. Unless you are fully versed on our member benefits, on our services, how our services pair well together, then you're not going to have the tools that you need in order to upgrade a membership. Have your consultants buy back your guest pass. Have them list out all of the different buyback opportunities. Again, this is another advanced training, but it's so vital for the performance of your store. We tell you guys that you need to hand out 5,000 guest passes a month. What good are those guest passes if they come back and our consultants don't know how to buy them back? If they don't know how to turn a guest pass into a membership? Well, at that point, all we're doing is giving away services. So that's, again, an advanced tool, but it's so vital, especially if that is the marketing tool that we're using to get new people in the door. They have to be skilled on that. And again, it's one of those things, it should be very instant. It should be something that's memorized to where they can make it themselves, they can be confident and sound like they know what they're talking about when they are approaching a member about it. Never stop drilling, never stop role playing, and never stop training. I know that role playing is very difficult to do with your team. No one likes it. I've never met one person that likes to role play in the store. Not one person. But that's the only way, along with secret shopping your store, that you're going to find out what your performance gaps are or where you need to gear your training. And if you're waiting to secret shop or to call Miss Guest off of your guest register, then you're already losing out on money because those are already guests that have come in and walked out without buying anything. So we want to be proactive with this and assure that we're taking care of the issues before clients even come in. So now we've invested in them, right? So hopefully we've invested in them and their growth in the way that they are fully knowledgeable on our products, on our services, on the benefits of them, right? So not only are they knowledgeable, but if they know all the ins and outs of what Planet Beach can offer, there's no doubt in my mind that they won't be sold on it. I've never met one person who's worked for Planet Beach, knows the ins and outs, uses the services, uses the products, and isn't sold on it. It's just impossible. So make sure that they are utilizing the services. Make sure that they are utilizing the products. That's going to be the easiest way for them to sell them. They aren't asking for the sale. How do we find that out? We role play, right? If we get to that sales presentation and they say, yeah, so we have a couple of different options, so just call me whenever you want to listen to them. Have a great day. But they didn't ask for anything, right? Maybe they walk them out of their free or complimentary service, and they're like, how did you enjoy that, Miss Mary? Oh, it was so nice, but I'm rushing. I got to go to work. All right, well, bye, have a good one. No, we want to make sure that they are prepared for that situation, that they have a quick pitch, right? They have something in their back pocket that they can throw at Miss Mary, even if she only has a couple seconds. Are they too salesy or gimmicky? How do we know that, right? How do we discover if they're too salesy or too gimmicky? Again, role playing, right? You can find that out in 2 seconds. If you sit down with your consultant and you feel uncomfortable, that's exactly how a new customer walking in the door is going to feel. So it's best that we nip that in the bud right now, right? Are they too robotic? That goes into them not being confident in their pitch. And typically that lack of confidence comes from lack of experience. If it's their first time giving a tour or presenting a package, they probably are going to be a little robotic because they're trying to remember everything that they studied, everything that you told them to do, everything that you showed them, and they're not making it personable. So if you're role playing and you're constantly practicing with your team on all these steps, on the sales process, on giving a tour, on going over the personal spec profile, on overcoming objections, then they're not having to think about it anymore, right? It's just coming right out. So they're not buying themselves more time. That goes into that goes into having that down pitch, right? We didn't sell them on a titanium, but let's go ahead and sell them on a gold. Nope, not interested in a contract. Not a problem. Let's go ahead and get you set up with a month, just so that you can try it. You can see if it's something that you'll be using often enough, that way we can extend it to next month. That's not a success, right? We're not excited about selling a month. Sure, it's better than not selling them anything. But at the end of the day, all we're doing is buying more time for ourselves to sell them. For whatever reason, we failed that one day, and that's okay. As long as we buy ourselves more time. Because what can we do with that month? In that month, we can service that member to the best of our ability. We're going to roll out the red carpet. We're going to show them all the benefits of being a member here at Planet Beach. We're also going to attempt to buy that month back and put it towards their enrollment, right? To get them started on their membership. But if our consultants don't have the skills to down pitch, if they don't have the skills to buy that month back, then they don't have the ability to buy more time, right? So now we've hired the right people, right? We know that's not the problem. We've very well communicated what our expectations were. And we have made sure that we have invested all of our time and energy in assuring that our consultants have all the right tools and all the right training to be successful with us. Now we need to see, what are they good at? And this is taking a look at your 90-day evaluations, right? Now we've hired them, they've come on, we've set our expectations, we've trained them, but now it's time to evaluate them, right? Because we talked about putting them on that probationary period. Well, now it's time to follow up with that. So this is going to give us the opportunity to track and analyze all the weaknesses and the strengths of that consultant and communicate those with that consultant. Maybe in this evaluation, you're going to find that Julie's sales aren't where you want them to be. But you know what? Julie's coming in every single day, 20 minutes early. She's awake. She's ready to learn. She's ready to work. She looks the part. The clients love her. I get so much great feedback on her. She can clean this spa like no one else. And you know what? Every time that I talk with her, every time that we have our monthly meetings, she always has these amazing ideas on how to get people in the door. So maybe at that time, that conversation that I'm going to have with her isn't about promoting her to member, right? It's going to be finding a way to make her useful in our store, finding a way to make the skills that she does have and that she is good at work for me. Not everyone is going to be great at sales, right? Of course, that's vital to the performance of our store. We absolutely need those spa consultants that do have a great strength in sales, but not everyone's going to be that way. And if all we have is consultants that are great at sales and we don't have anyone filling in their performance gaps, then we're constantly going to have that issue of, sure, we have people in here that can sell, but we don't have anyone bringing people in. So maybe now it's time to look at that new hire and say, you know what? Your sales really haven't been where I was hoping that they would be. And I know that you've probably seen that on your paycheck. I know when you came on, we talked about the compensation opportunity that you had, and I don't think that you're seeing that. And I think that you have a lot of great qualities, right, that we can take advantage of, and we can make sure that you are being compensated on things that you are good at, right? So Danielle and Megan, you know what? They're selling their butts off, right? So how about instead of you having to worry about not making sales, so you're not making your commission, let's have you focus on bringing in guest traffic. Let's have you focus on making red appointments and prospecting and getting some new leads so that we can feed Megan and Danielle sales. But that way you're not hurting your commission, right? Because we're going to compensate you based on how many leads you're getting and how many reds you're booking and how many that are showing. So that way you still have the ability to make some commission, right? That commission that we talked about in the beginning. But maybe it's just not going to be on the same things that we talked about in the very beginning, right? So you always want to make sure that you are using your SWOT analysis, looking at their strengths, looking at their weaknesses. Ask them what they're good at. Ask them what they like to do. Maybe they're really great with social media. Maybe they're really great with coming up with campaign ideas. So why not use that to your benefit? Don't have your sales consultants that are really strong in sales worrying about posting on Facebook, sending out email campaigns, when we can have our consultants that aren't as strong as selling doing that for them. Because we want our sales consultants focused on selling, because that's what's going to bring more money in your door, right? So once you have those, right, we got a great sales team, we've got a SWOT consultant that can really focus and have her responsibilities focused on bringing people in the door. Now business is booming, right? We're bringing people in the door, the sales team's selling them. But I'm starting to find that, I put all this on that SWOT consultant that's focused on marketing, and now she's a little slacking on the red. She's slacking on bringing people in the door because she's servicing members, extra members, right? She's having to do all these other responsibilities. So let's help her out a little bit, right? So now we can hire someone who literally all they have to do is have great communication skills, right? Make and confirm appointments, schedule and confirm service appointments, follow up with missed guests, right? They can follow up the missed guests and find out where our sales team is lacking. They can also assist with organization. That way we can have our sales team focus on sales. We can have our SPA consultant focus that's really great on marketing and likes to do marketing, focusing on marketing. And we can take those other things off of their plate. So that's what we mean when we say utilizing their strengths. And again, I'm not saying go hire a marketing director. Don't go hiring someone that's, managing hotels. And we don't want to pay top dollar for these consultants. These are still SPA consultants. They're still responsible for general operations in the store, but we're focusing on their strengths rather than breaking down their weaknesses. So now what can we achieve from that, right? If we have someone who's not really strong in selling, right? Sales is not in her bones, then we're not going to have the issue of over discounting, right? Maybe she's, just trying to, sell products for anything that's worked just to get someone to say yes, and she doesn't know how to sell, so she's thinking the lower she puts that price, the more people are going to be interested in it. If we don't have her focused on selling anymore, then she's not over discounting and she's not devaluing the price of that product, right? Or the price of that membership. And we're not going to have that issue anymore. We're not going to have the issue of them confusing the customer, right? Because they're not focused on selling anymore. They're not focused on selling if that's not their strong suit. Their strength is in marketing and coming up with campaigns, and that's where their focus is. So they're very rarely gonna be speaking with new guests. They're giving up too soon, right? That's another example of someone not having those great sales skills. They hear no, they get discouraged, they back off. So anyone with great sales skills, they're not gonna take that one no and go with it, right? They're waiting for those 3 no's. Talking customers out of a sale. That's another, that comes from your consultants not being confident, right? Not valuing that membership. So that's when they're going to present that membership before that member even says anything. They're taking it back and offering something a lot cheaper and a lot lesser, like sessions or a month or something, right? So we don't want to have those issues. We don't want to be stuck in those situations because we're feeding new guests to a consultant who isn't that great in sales. So number 4, right? So now we've hired the right people. We've fully communicated our expectations. We've made sure that we put the time and energy into their training. And we've made sure that we evaluated what they are good at and decided, can we make that work for my business? Is that what I'm looking for right now? Is that what I need right now? And now we need to make sure that we're keeping them motivated. And when we talk about motivation, it can come from a couple of different things, right? A lot of people are motivated by different things. And the key to that is finding what motivates them. So just some quick tips of keeping your team motivated. Lead by example. You never want to be the dictator, right? Do as I say, not as I do. That never works. That's never going to create a team environment. The second that team aspect of the business is out the door, you're going to have consultants fighting, stealing sales, fighting over clients, fighting over leads. You don't want to be in that situation. And with Planet Beach having the majority of our employees girls, we all know those situations can happen. So we want to avoid that like the plague. So lead by example. Help out your fellow consultants. Be a team player. Don't let the cancer take over. We talked about what we meant by cancer earlier. Cancer is that negative energy. It's that bad apple, that consultant with the bad habits that we tolerate, right? Because we don't have anyone else. We haven't been interviewing. We haven't been hiring. We don't have anyone to replace them with. Or even worse, maybe it's our daughter, our friend, our family member, right? So it goes a deeper level than just a business relationship. If I fire them or let them go, then I have to deal with it every single day of my life, right? Don't put yourself in that situation. That cancer is going to spread. You tolerate low performance by one consultant, then you are very soon going to be tolerating low performance from everyone. Or worse, you're going to be losing your good consultants because they're no longer motivated to work hard because they don't feel like they have to. Because Danielle's not working hard. Danielle's hanging out. She's been sitting on the couch texting her boyfriend for the past 2 hours. No one told her anything. Why am I busting my butt booking reds, right? So you don't ever want to put yourself in that situation. Even if it means that by firing that person or letting that person go, that you personally have to go in the store and work the store. At that point, you have to be willing to do that. Again, you never want to have to put yourself in that situation because hopefully you are constantly interviewing and recruiting, but I think that we all know those situations happen. So let's make sure that we learn from them and we are willing to jump in and work our store if we need be, rather than tolerating low performance that's going to demotivate the whole team. Recognize some positive things that aren't sales. We talk all the time about recognizing your top retail performer and having them demonstrate what they did. And that's great. And that's a great form of motivation for that consultant because now they feel acknowledged. But you also want to recognize the other things, right? You don't want your team to assume that sales is all you're thinking about, right? Because we talked about that earlier with hiring attitude over aptitude. We want to make sure that these consultants don't feel like just because they're the highest in sales that they don't have to wear their uniform when they come in, or they don't have to show up 15 minutes before their shift, or they don't have to complete their closing duties because they sold a lot, right? So you want to make sure that you're also recognizing those other things, right? I really appreciate that you stepped up at the last minute and took over that Saturday shift. I know you really didn't want to do that, but I really appreciate it, and I really acknowledge that I can depend on you, and I really appreciate that in you, right? Just saying little words like that, it's all that it really takes, especially with millennials. I know we talk a lot about how it's really hard to manage millennials, and the majority of the consultants in our store are millennials. And there are a lot of generalizations about them. They're lazy, They're scared to talk to people. They don't want to call people. They only want to text. There's a lot of things that we talk about, right? They're flaky. They'll jump from job to job. They don't want to work hard or anything. But one of the things that research will tell you when researching how to motivate millennials is that small, frequent acknowledgments of recognition and appreciation does wonders, right? They will take that and feel like they're improving in their job and feel like they're making a difference than just, working for a paycheck. So keep those little things in mind. We talk a lot about holding our team accountable, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But you also want to make sure that you're not just acknowledging the weak areas of our team or always pinpointing the weak areas. We want to make sure that we're highlighting the strengths as well. So we're talking about the different ways to motivate our team, right? Most people are motivated by money, wouldn't you say? That's their whole reason they got a job, right? I don't have a job for fun. I love Planet Beach. I love my coworkers, but I'd much rather be at home sleeping. But guess what? Sleeping's not going to pay my bills, right? So I need money. So make sure that you're compensating great performance. And you're going to be doing that not necessarily with your hourly pay, but with your commission structure. When someone's performing well, you don't want to increase their hourly pay to say thank you. You want to increase their commission structure. You want to give them a more percentage based on higher sales, right? So for example, if you have your spa director and their goal was once they got the net EFT to 20,000, they get 1% of the net. And once they, you don't want to say, okay, now you have 1% of the net. You know what? You did a great job. Congratulations. Now you get 1%. Well, okay, that's great. But now what? Right? You want to continue to compensate them. So now let's put another goal in place, right? Now on top of all your other commissions that you're receiving, I want to offer you 2% once we hit 25,000 in the net. So make sure that you are compensating them in that way. Put incentives in place to promote improvements in their weaker areas. So when we're talking about putting commission structures in place and looking at it, look at what you are compensating on. So we have a very basic spa consultant compensation guide for you, which again we'll send out with the webinar later on today. But you want to make sure that you're compensating on their strengths, right? But of course, you want to make sure that you're really thinking about how you're compensating them on their strengths. If you're looking at your consultant sales and you say, hey, you know what? Steven hasn't really sold that many memberships, but he always shows up on time, right? He's a great employee, so positive. All the consultants love him, all the members love him, but he sells a lot of memcash. He does a lot of sessions. So you know what? I'm gonna start, compensating him on every session that he sells. That's not what we mean by compensating their strengths. If someone's selling a lot of sessions, I don't consider that a strength. That's a weakness. That means that somewhere along the way of hiring, of communicating, of training, we failed him, right? Or we failed to find what he is strong at and utilize him in that way. So make sure that you're not dropping your commission structure to help low performance, but that you are putting incentives in place to promote improvements in those areas, right? So if you're looking at Steven and he's not selling very many memberships, but he is selling a lot of sessions, well, guess what? Put this incentive in place. Hey, Steven, I want you to go back. I want you to pull a report for every session that you sold this past month. And if you can convert 5 of them into members, I'll pay your phone bill this month, right? That's the incentive that we're talking about by improving in their weak areas. Because what's that going to do? That's going to show him, hey, I sold a lot of sessions, right? I'm really good at selling sessions. But it's going to teach him how to buy back those sessions and turn those into memberships. That's going to be a learning and training opportunity for him. It's also going to give us some EFT increase, right? And that's going to show him the opportunity that he has to make commission off of membership sales versus the no commission that he got off of those sessions, right? So make sure that when you're putting incentives in place and when you are compensating and motivating your team, that you are thinking in that way and that you are doing what's best for your business, not necessarily what's going to make your consultants' paychecks higher. We all know the more money your consultants make, the more motivated they are, the harder they're going to work. But if we start compensating low performance, again, it's going to spread. So what else, right? Maybe they're younger, maybe they're married or have a boyfriend, maybe they don't have to worry about bills, maybe they still live at home, who knows the case, right? Maybe money isn't that important to them. So what other ways can we motivate them? We talked about one of them just now, right? Recognition and appreciation. That is a huge one, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, right? How much money does it cost to pick up the phone and tell your consultant, hey, I just saw that you sold 2 memberships and you got full enrollment? That's awesome. Congratulations. You know what? Go ahead and take $5 out of the drawer and go get a Starbucks coffee down the street. Like, I really appreciate that. Was awesome. Like, that doesn't cost very much, right? But you know what? That consultant's going to be really motivated to continue doing things like that. They're going to be motivated to continue performing and selling. It's those little things to say, hey, I noticed what you did, and it was awesome, right? Sometimes we just want people to notice that we're doing a good job, that we're trying hard, right? What about competition? When we're thinking about our sales-minded consultants, the majority of your highest sales performers are super competitive. And that's really what drives them at the end of the day, is being the best and beating their competition. And if that's how they're motivated, then we need to feed into that, right? So even if you have like a sales team that is really close, there are a lot of friends, you kind of want to build that friendly competition, track their individual sales and publicly post their sales per hour. And when I say publicly post them, I don't mean on the front door, I don't mean on the retail shelves for members to see. Post it in the laundry room, post it in their break area, post it on the computer in the front to where all the employees can see it. And switch that up every week or every month. Switch that up to where they're constantly in communication. They know who's winning. And they know how much they're winning by, so they know how much they have to sell to be number one. You'd be surprised how motivated people would be by that, just by being number one. If it's not individual sales, maybe it's the number of sales, right, in a specific category. If we are doing our monthly review and we're looking at last month and we had huge EFT increase and we had huge numbers in MemCash, but retail we were slacking a little bit. You know what? Let's put a competition in place to where whoever sells the most product of the week this week gets a $25 gift certificate, right? Putting those little competitions and little incentives in place is going to keep your team motivated and keep it fresh and exciting in the store. Are they motivated by teamwork? Typically, our highest performing locations, this is typically what they're motivated by. They're motivated by teamwork. They get along with the team. They all work as a team, right? So feed into that. Instead of trying to pin them against each other, make them work even more together. Focus on team goals rather than their individual goals, and incentivize them with a team building event. Take the team out to dinner. Take them out for some drinks, assuming that they're old enough. Take them, somewhere to do something. That's only going to help the camaraderie in your store. It's only going to increase the teamwork. And the more that your team likes each other and works together, the more flawless that your spa is going to operate on a daily basis. So these are just some key ways to keep your team motivated, because we need to be looking at those things. We need to keep our team motivated. The second that we slack in that area is when our numbers start to drop. So you always want to keep it fresh, always want to stay on top of that. And again, once they hit that goal and we've incentivized them for it, put another one in place. There should always be something in place. So our last step, right? We feel like we've done everything that we could possibly do. We've hired the right people. We've communicated our expectations. We've trained them. We know that they're fully trained. They know everything. I've drilled them. I've role played with them. I've secret shopped them. I know everything. I know what they're doing, right? I know they can do this. I've got so many incentives in place. Trust me, I'm writing big paychecks, right? They're motivated, all right. So why aren't they selling now? What's the problem now? So if you're doing all those steps and you're still finding that lack in performance, it's typically because we are failing at holding them accountable. And accountability doesn't have to be a negative thing, and I feel like a lot of our consultants look at it as an annoyance or it's a pain, but it's not the case. I apologize, not our consultants, our franchisees. What you'll find, and it's actually in research when you're searching how to hire and maintain millennials in the workplace, they want accountability. They want responsibilities. They want acknowledgement for when those goals are reached or exceeded. And they want to be held accountable because they want you to know that they've heard you and they want you to see that they've done a good job, because millennials, what they really care about is growth. They want the opportunity to grow in a workplace. They don't want to be stuck at a dead-end job, right? They want to see the opportunity to move up in a business. So they want you to see their success. So if you're not holding them accountable, and that shows them that you're not paying attention to what they're doing, and that's not going to keep them motivated, right? So make sure that you do have a good accountability process in place, right? Be in control of your business's performance, its growth, and reputation. Follow up with missed guests, right? We talked about this a couple of times. That's a great way to find out what's going on when you're not in the store. We can role play all day long, right? But what really matters is what happens when that consultant's presenting this package to a member, right? We can practice all day long, but are they really doing that when I'm not around? Only one way to find out, right? We need to either send guests in there, we need to secret shop the store, or two, we need to follow up with the guests that have already come in and for whatever reason decided not to join with us. So make sure that that's a great way to hold them accountable and keep them on their toes. If they know that you're constantly calling these guests that have come in and not joined, then they're going to be on their toes. They're going to be making sure that they treat every single person that comes in the door like gold. They're going to be making sure that they follow everything properly because they know that if they don't, you're going to hear about it. Secret shop your store all the time, all the time. If you talk to another one of our top spas, Plano Beach Marrero here in New Orleans, there's so many times I call over and talk to the spa director and she's like, I know Nancy just sent a secret shopper in here. Nancy being the franchisee. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't know. This person came in here and asked all these questions. You don't think that was a client? A client can't come in there and just walk in and ask questions? She thinks every single person is a secret shopper. And that's because Nancy secret shops them constantly. She's constantly keeping them on their toes. She's constantly seeing what's going on in the store so that she can find out where that lack of performance is and she can address it. But it's also ensuring that her spa consultants are treating every single person that walks in the door like a secret shopper. So that's a really, really great kind of scare tactic to have. Lack of accountability leads to bad habits and low performance. I can't say it enough, right? I cannot say it enough. Bad habits, low performance, that's going to spread. One consultant with bad habits is going to spread those bad habits or teach them to the newer hires, and then you're stuck with a team of low performers. Follow the daily accountability protocol. We have these in place for a reason. That's going to ensure you're keeping up with your daily sales, not only on a daily basis, but on an hourly basis. You don't want to wait until the store's already closed to find out that we had a $0 day, right? Because now it's too late to fix it. If we find out at 10 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, it's still $0, well, guess what? We need to do something about this, right? So I'm going to call the store. I'm going to see what's going on. Who do we have on the books, right? What products can we sell them? Can we post something on social media? Let's send out a Google form. Let's get some leads. Oh, Miss Mary's coming in at 2 o'clock. Make sure that you talk to her about the ambassador program. Well, we need to get some leads so we can make some reds and keep people in the door, right? But if you're waiting until the end of the day or the end of the month, it's way too late to do anything about it. Host your mid-month assessments with your spa director. This is going to assure, again, that they know you're looking, right? You're paying attention. You know what's going on in the store. You know what they're selling. You know what they're not selling. You know where they're doing great. You know where they need some help. And you're helping them assess those performance gaps. Don't just leave that all on their shoulder. So what does that do, right? What does putting accountability in place ensure? That we're no longer having to deal with a situation where our consultants don't have to sell, right? They do have to sell. Because what happens if they don't sell? If they don't sell, they're getting a phone call from me. They're getting a conversation. They're going to have a sit down with me. We're talking about it in our meetings, right? We're evaluating them. So they know what their expectations are. They know they have to sell. But when people think they don't have to sell, that's again because of us tolerating that low performer that didn't sell. So we no longer feel like we have to sell, right? All it does is demotivate the team. So make sure that you guys are role playing, that you are drilling your team so that you can find out what the problem is, because there's a reason that your consultant is not selling. There is a reason. And the only way that we can find a solution to that reason is to find out what the reason is, right? So what now, right? What do we do now? Now we know maybe why our team isn't selling, or maybe why our consultants aren't selling, or we know that we need to find out why they're not, right? So look at your team. Maybe you have to make some tough decisions. Maybe you have to divvy up responsibilities in a different way. Maybe you actually have to let someone go, right? Or maybe you realize this person is trainable. You know what? When we talked about that training schedule and putting that policy in place and continuing the training, you know what? I really feel like we slacked on that. You know, we were in a desperate situation. We had someone quit on us last minute. We just needed someone in the door, just a body to fill space and to put people in services. So we really rushed that stage. And maybe that's why she hasn't been improving like all the other consultants, right? So maybe we need to put them on a probationary period and retrain them. So pull out that spa consultant training checklist and go over it with them again. Make sure that they do have everything checked off on that list and that they do know everything that's on there. And properly communicate to the consultant that they are now being put on a probationary period and why, right? You know what? I apologize. This is my fault. You know what? Your sales aren't where they want to be. I'm sure that you feel the same way. Do you feel like you're doing great in this area? Is there something else that maybe you think you would rather do, or you think would be a good idea, right? So put them on that probationary period, retrain them, and then assess their improvements, right? Did they improve? Was it in fact that lack of training, or is it something else, right? Continue your advanced training. Don't stop with that checklist. Don't stop. You never stop role playing. You never stop drilling prices and services and products. You never stop all those things. We have to assure that they have all the tools that they need to be successful. Evaluate your consultants, right? So now we retrain them. We know they have all the knowledge, right? But are we using them correctly? This is going back into that SWOT analysis. Make sure that you are communicating with your consultant and asking them what they think they're really great at, what they really like to do, right? And can we make that fit with our business? And is it worth making it fit in our business? We don't want to make a place for a consultant who has bad habits, who's, bad energy, right? Negative energy, negative attitude, anything like that. And now that we know, right, what they're good at, incentivize and motivate them based on their strengths, right? We talked about that when we talked about motivating. Hold them accountable to their results. Guys, none of this other stuff matters if we don't have that accountability structure in place, and that the consultants don't know about the accountability structure. They need to know what you're looking at on a day-to-day basis, on an hourly basis, because that's what they're going to be focused on. They don't want you to see that they're doing a bad job. They don't want you to be upset with them. They want to be good at their jobs, I assure you. But we have to make sure we're giving them all the tools and communicating properly with them in order for them to be successful. And hey, if you decide they're not trainable, and you know what, this person's a lost cause, I feel bad that I wasted all my time and money on this person, but that's okay, right? It's better to find that out now instead of continuing to waste our time and money on training the wrong people, right? So start back at step one and hire again, right? We're always interviewing. We're always recruiting. So make sure that you go back to step 1 and do it right this time. Maybe that was the part in the step that we failed in. Maybe, again, we were just so desperate. We just threw anyone into the store because we were just so desperate. We just needed someone. I'm not doing that again, right? I'm going to make sure that I do it right this time. So be on the lookout. Like I said, you guys, we are going to be sending out the following items. We're going to be placing them on Orion, and we're also be emailing them out. So you'll be getting an email in the next couple of hours from your spa performance consultant or your regional developer, and we'll also be placing it on the Facebook group. So if you guys are on the Facebook group and you're more accessible on Facebook than you are on email, then you can definitely find it there as well. But we're going to be sending out, along with the recording of this webinar, some of the tools that we talked about today that are going to help you guys be more successful with the hiring and the investment of your team. So we talked about the pre-employment packet, the spa consultant training checklist, your spa consultant evaluation form, a SWOT analysis, your spa consultant commission structure, daily accountability protocol, information on how to secret shop your location. If that's something that you're interested in, maybe you don't know where to start. We do work with a business that you can hire to secret shop your store for you. So we will also send out that information along with a quiz on why your consultants aren't selling. So if it's something you want to take, you want to give to your spa director, I highly feel like you guys should definitely take this quiz and make sure that you are getting a lot out of these webinars and that you are learning and taking some little tips and tricks back. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you guys joining in. If you have any other questions or maybe you need some more help or more information on these topics, reach out to your regional developer or your spa performance consultant, or you can always email us at spaperformance@plantabeach.com in case you're not sure who your regional developer or spa performance consultant is, and we will reach out to you. All right, bye, guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.